Hey y'all, it's Indigo here. Got a little video for you. We just had the new pit, or the nerf pit, however you want to say it. So CG in their infinite wisdom thought Supreme Leader Kylo soloing phase 1 was too much and that we all needed to do our fair share. So they ratcheted up the difficulty and decided that after you do 2%, the Rancor is going to up his stats and be a lot harder to kill and all that good stuff. So, yeah, let me show you guys how my pit merc went. So we're doing these merc jobs that, there's 20 of us, I think, in this one. You know, we wanted to be safe, make sure we weren't starting out and going to have a dead raid. So 20 guys go in and do all the damage that a guild of 50 should do. And let me tell you, it was easy. We were doing it before with, 12 or 15 guys. We didn't want to chance it. So we used 20 here because the guild that we were in had the room. And we had 20 heavy hitters. It was no problem. I'm using the same exact Vader team. And I didn't even get to put mods on. Like, I've got a loadout that has, upgraded mods for the best teams that I use, because we try to use just the minimum amount of teams, one per phase, to get it done. Well, I've got a loadout that's got all my best mods for those, and I didn't even get to put it on. So this is just my standard everyday modding on this team, which, if you're doing the pit raid, you really don't want to have. You want to have your best on so you can squeeze out every bit of score you can and get that coveted top 5 spot for those Relic 8 mats. So I'm using Vader. The only change up I would say that I did is hold off on his culling blade. So you just want to stack a bunch of dots and debuffs as you can right at the get-go and cycle around, and you got to keep your eye on that health. Now, since it's every 2% that the damage ramps up, you just want to keep an eye on that and not go too far past that, and keep an eye on Vader's health. You don't want him to die. So you just gotta kind of watch out and make sure that you're stacking as many debuffs as you can. And then when you think you can't do any more, you get that one big culling blade in there for massive damage. And then that's your score for the raid. And you'll see that here. So I'm still using Shaak Ti. I've heard that BB-8 is actually better here, because then you can save Shaak Ti to go with a secondary Jedi team. Now that there's time and you can use multiple teams per phase, we were using Rey with Jedi for phase 4. Now you can throw a secondary team of like Jedi Master Luke with Gas and Shaak Ti and whoever's left also in phase 4, or a different phase if that's how you do it. But for our raids, we just try and use Vader for P1. And if everybody's got one and you're doing 7-8%, you've got 15 people. That's plenty of damage. And this doesn't mean, too, you've got people that can throw Padme in, bounty hunters, imp troopers, all these secondary squads. And that doesn't even get into like a Gar Saxon squad or a secondary bounty hunter squad with like Embo lead or something with counters. There's a lot of squads you can throw down if you're 8-9 mil and you've got all these characters reliced up. No longer are you limited to one squad for big damage. You can do multiple small amounts if they were 1% even, and throw a bunch of those in. So if you got a whole team of people that can do that, you're golden. I think after doing 2 of these raids, it's pretty easy. Now you can see here I'm about to wrap up the Vader. I was thinking about what should I do, and here I went into Merciless. I've got Tenacity down so I can do the Force Crush to lay a few more dots, and then I've got my Culling Blade ready, so we'll go ahead and use that for the big damage hit. And then I just got to kill these 2 side ones because of the Merciless Massacre. And then as soon as he goes, I've taken off enough health that he's going to KO me. So watch. Look at that. Took out Vader. Almost killed Shaak Ti, but not quite. She was able to heal up. I didn't record the end of that, but you can see the score that I got. I think it amounted to 5%. and that's just my first time trying it. Today I got about 7.5%, and I know I made mistakes, so I'll be able to correct those and get a much better video next time I can do it. Next up, phase 2, everybody's favorite part of the raid. So long, Rose. Finally, she's useful and can do something. So that was Rose being sacrificed, and she did her part. Now we're going to go in with our actual team. And I'm using the same team that we used to use before. Supreme Leader Kylo with Hux, Thrawn, Daka, and Zombie. And like I said, I didn't even put special modding on them. It's just the same kind of strategy I used to use. Poke them a couple times, do the swipe so that you hit the door. So even though you can send in multiple teams per phase now, you only get one crack with the door. So if you're going to run something like Imp Troopers that rely on the door being down on the Rancor, you can't do them in the same phase that you're going to do your Kylo. So like what we do is split up our Kylos, and half the people run theirs in phase 2 and the other half run theirs in phase 3. And then if you're not running Kylo in whatever phase, use your secondary team, whether it's Bounty Hunters, Padme, Imp Troopers, you know, just the secondary little teams that will do decent damage, about 4 or 5, 10% if you have that Dark Trooper. I don't have him, so I haven't really looked into, you know, maxing out my mods for Imp Troopers. They're good for about 5%, and you'll see me use those next phase. But for phase 2, Supreme Leader Kylo, I like to get that one out of the way, and I seem to be doing pretty well with it. I think it plays pretty similar to how you would play it previously. Even though he does ramp up after every 2% you do, you can still get the protection of your ultimate. You still ramp up your damage. So I think all things considered, it goes well. It's still going to be a lot of RNG on whether Daka gets killed or she can revive somebody. You know, if she brings back Thrawn and Hux, you're golden, because that's more targets on the field to absorb damage. You can see she brought Thrawn back right there. So when he goes and gets off another fracture, that's extra critical hits and extra charge on the ultimate meter that wouldn't have been there had he not been brought back. So I'm able to pop ultimate one more time right there. Look at that. Rancor's going berserk, smacks him, eats him, smacks him some more, and I get one more attack in with Kylo, and I'm sitting here trying to decide, should I basic and get 2 hits? Should I poke and get a guaranteed hit that he's not going to dodge? Should I do his AoE and try to ramp up damage? Does it ramp it up before it hits so I can get the biggest hit I can get? What should I do? So, thinking about it for a minute, I went with a basic, got 2 hits in. Not too bad, I guess. And then he swatted me and it was over. But I did just a hair under 10%. So I think that's pretty decent, especially when you got 15 mercs hitting the raid. You know, that leaves about 7 or 8 per phase, and the others are going to use their secondary teams. It's not a problem. And you see, this is how my Imp Troopers go. I don't have Dark Trooper. I said that. I don't even know that this is the optimal way to play them. I mean, I'm sure it's not, but I don't care. I mean, they do really quick damage. You can get a quick 5% run in, and it doesn't even matter. You're just kind of helping things out. So I drop the door, and then I just go for it. Just all the AoEs, everything heavy damage. I don't know, don't care. All the assists. Look at that. Just racking up the critical hits. Basic there, get some assists on that. He does stand up pretty quick, because after you reach the 2% and 4%, whatever thresholds, he'll just get right back up, and then he hits harder and all that good stuff. But they're still doing damage. I mean, they tanked out a few hits, but there it is, wrapping up. Once he stands up and starts swatting, there's not a whole lot you can do. And I think I ended up hitting 5% there. Converted it. I think that's what it came out to, so pretty good there. Happy with that. Now we'll go into phase 4. And you can see that it's still flowing pretty quick. I mean, we're getting done in 40 minutes, I would say. Maybe even quicker once we learn what we can spare. We tend to save a lot of firepower for phase 4 just because we want to be sure to get through it. You don't want to get through all of phase 1 to 3 and then get stuck on P4 and not be able to clear. I didn't think that would happen to us, but I figured if we have the most firepower we can, we should be able to get through it no problem. Everybody just unload. So here's the team that we use, and it's Jedi Knight Revan, Jedi Knight Luke, Cam, Hermit Yoda, and we got Rey. And Rey seems to do a bit better than having Jedi Master Luke. But like I mentioned earlier, now that we can throw multiple teams in here, we can throw a Jedi Master Luke squad in with the Jedi that we have left over. So it would be Gas, Shakti, Ezra, you know, whoever you got, you can throw him under Jedi Master Luke, get a couple % that way too. But with Rey, the team works basically the same. I mean, you play it the exact same. Cam is doing the damage, and all the counterattacks that they do are adding to that. And the fact that he double taps on his basic is going to ramp up the damage even more. Here I was able to get into Rey's ultimate. I just went ahead and did it as soon as I could, because you're not going to survive much longer with his ramping up damage and defense and everything he's getting. You just want to put as much damage down as you can. So that's what I did here. You can see everybody's knocking on death's door, but look at that. I get Master's Training here so I can throw it on Jedi Knight Luke to help Cam out. Get a couple extra hits in. Now Rey's ultimate is over. I think making her slow is kind of good. Make that ultimate last even just another turn or so longer that Cam can get an attack in. I think that's pretty good. So that was it for that attempt. And I did pretty good damage. It was 7.75%. Nowhere near the top. Some people are getting 8-9%. But I think that's fairly good. And then this is me just throwing in a CLS team. Good old CLS that was good for 100, 200K when you got down to 20% and under. Well, now it doesn't matter. Every run is like a brand new run. I don't have C3PO because he obviously got killed in phase 1. So I put R2 in there. Wasn't really sure what to do. You just go for it. There's not a lot of difference you could do. You only have one target. So I just figured on using whatever moves gave me the biggest damage. And a lot of that's RNG because like right there, he could have dazed everybody and he didn't. He's just putting down that healing immunity or health down and he's not dazing anybody. So everyone's able to get some counterattacks in. Just I'm trying to burn, do whatever hits I could do. Maybe I should have done the double tap with Han because I did the one hit and he wasn't able to go again and do his double tap. But not bad. I mean, just a quick 600k damage and then the raid was already over. So that was it from my end. That was all I got to use. But that was good enough to score me in the top 5. You see the scoreboard. We burned through this thing pretty quickly. So I got to 5. I think that was good enough. But hopefully this gives you a peek at the new raid if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet. Same teams work, just got to play them a little bit differently sometimes. Thanks for watching my video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share your comments down below, and hopefully you'll check out my other videos on my channel. Peace.